Hey folks, I'm Rosie. Welcome to Covers Done Quick. This is the video series where I pick a cover from the hat, start the 1 hour timer and try my best to put it onto the handpan. It's useful if you like doing covers or maybe you're just interested in how I get there. Either way, thanks for being here. Let's go. Today's cover is... oh yes! It's Wonderful World. I'm going to press go on the timer, 1 hour, 60 minutes. Wish me luck. So the first thing I'm going to do is listen to it. Oh, it's such a lovely song. Yeah, so we've got that really lush, rich orchestration, big string sound, and it's in 12/8. So instead of it's like cha 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 cha, the accompaniment under it is 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 3. So it's a kind of triplet feel, which makes it feel all schmaltzy and lovely. Obviously, the key that I just listened to it in is not the same one that this handpan's in. This handpan's in E major, so I'm going to have to transpose, which means putting it into the key that works for me. Initially I thought it went to B, which is chord 5, that happens a lot. I see trees of green. But that's too kind of cheerful, upbeat, chirpy. We're actually bringing a little bit of grit. Going to G sharp minor. Ooh, drama. But then, and this is one of my absolute favourite kind of chord progressions, is using this F sharp. So substitutions are a way of making your piece sound more interesting. This so far, it could be chord 1, chord 5, chord 6, chord 5 again, but already to get that more minor feel, we're using minor chords in place. From here, instead of having a minor chord, I'm going to go for the major chord. And just by changing, so the major and the minor is decided by the third note in the triad. So this is the first note, this is the third note, and this is the fifth note. I know there's only 3 notes, but that's what the degrees of the scale are called. So by altering that note in the middle, we can really change the feel of it. It's still a G sharp chord, but this time it's got a major in. So that's about the interval, the gap between those 2 notes. Basically, it makes it sound more happy and cheerful. Now, if I'm only playing the diatonic notes, so that's the notes that are in the scale of E, I wouldn't have access to that C. So that's why I need to use 2 handpans sometimes. It does make it a bit more tricky to play, jumping around, but I'm sure it'll be okay. So lovely. Oh, how rude. So the chords really flow so nicely into each other. If I had a whole orchestra, I'd be having bass lines, double basses, violins, all to make this kind of really rich symphonic sound. But I don't. So normally the chords and the melody kind of shift around the same sort of time, but here the harmony really shows where we're going next. It's like, I think to myself, and then we're going down. It just kind of gives it that real sense of finality by landing. Oh, I'm loving loving this. This is so much fun. I do like this song. So the accompaniment in this song, it has such a huge personality. There's a lot of this thing on the same note where things shift underneath. So can you hear that E rings through the whole of that bit? He's actually singing it on one note. But by shifting the harmony, A major, F sharp, minor, B major, all of that over that same E, we get a really lovely aural effect. And E being the tonic, being the home note, is such an important one. That's why that really works, to move those pieces underneath it. And definitely in between the verses, there's this little like rubato moment. So playing with a metronome is such an important skill, which is what that click that keeps you totally in time. Often you've got it in your ears when you're recording, but I feel like this is not the kind of piece that you'd record even if I had a metronome, because I want to pull it apart. And if I was working with a singer, I would just be watching them. Some songs you have to lead from the accompaniment, like if you're playing drum kit, you're not going to slow down and speed up normally. But this, you know, there'd be a whole orchestra, there's a conductor, there's that real kind of push and pull feeling. So I'm going to try and play around with it while still keeping that sense of tempo in time. And with rubato, you're kind of thinking about borrowing time. So you do still have a pulse. It's not completely free, but if you borrow from someone, you have to give it back a little bit. So you might be pushing and pulling the speed while still keeping that tempo quite still. Every time I come down to the C sharp, it just makes so much sense for me to play these underneath notes. I'm so lucky to have these deep bass notes. That really helps me with arranging, because it means I can leave the tune on top and let the chords take care of themselves. I keep forgetting to go back to E. There's not really, even though E is the tonic, there's not really that much. I'm kind of wondering whether it should be called C sharp minor. Let me know in the comments, is this a major or a minor song? This might be a one camera affair because that camera keeps saying that the storage is full. That's just my phone being rude. No worries. And they've started drilling. Anyway, this video is going great. Let's look at the bridge. So this is an exciting bit. It is really quite simple. Like, it's not got a massive range, the melody. So it's just so, yeah, it's all about the harmony shifting underneath. So I will try my best to play the right chords. So I keep trying to add in a B7 chord. So I keep trying to add in a 5/7 chord. And it's never right. It's never right. So sometimes when we're kind of doing our cadences, finishing our phrases, adding in a 5 makes it feel really nice and final. In this case, it just doesn't. I think because this piece got so much, this song has so much kind of forward motion, it doesn't really settle. So a lot of the phrases you might notice end on this beat. But yeah, and we don't spend that much time around the tonal centre of this song. Oh, it's so lovely and hopeful. I first heard this song listening to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I used to listen to it every night before I went to sleep on like little tapes and CDs then. And I loved it so much, and the end of the radio play entered this song. So no matter how many contexts I hear it in, this will always be that song of Arthur Dent, Trapped. Okay, let's give it a go. So I'm going to have two verses, a little bridge, final verse. I think that's all the sections. I do normally forget a section. Thinking about bass lines, so I want to have a bit of fluidity between the lowest notes, and that kind of grounds it and makes it feel really solid. And then everything is going to be over this really floaty 12/8 triplety feel. So nothing is harsh. But it's a really good moment to think about dynamics. Like, you can't be singing Wonderful World aggressively. It's a wonderful world. But I feel like the bridge is where we have a chance to get a little bit more motion and a bit more kind of energy, and then strip it back down for the last verse. And then I'm just going to say that last line twice. I think that's what he does. And I think to myself, what a wonderful and then it's a real focus on arpeggios. So whatever handpan you've got, practice your arpeggios if you want to do covers. Oh, as I should. It's like a broken chord. I'm going up 4 notes and restarting it every time, and that is a real classic. You have to, when you play like scales and stuff, you've got to make sure that's one that you know. So going round and round and round, starting on E, ending on E. Like that is so unquestionably finished. Nah. No, I'm a big sucker for slaps, but you can't have it. It's simplicity. I'm often telling students that they don't need to overcomplicate things, like just letting your instrument sing is such a key for any piece of music. And this is, you know, it's only like a 2-minute song, it's very simple. It's just about the words, the melody, and really about the accompaniment. I'm not going to do any fancy, funky bits on it. Soz. Apologising to myself. But it's an emotional connection, this piece. So I'm going to be really flexible with the tempos, the tempi, with the speeds, to try and like use that as an additional way of storytelling. Because like playing in time is super important, especially if you're playing any kind of percussion instrument, but also letting the music breathe and speak. That's not just an excuse because I can't stay in time. I really like that 1C just sliding in. Also, I'm so lucky to have 2 pans that really allows me to open up all the options of playing. I love to do spread chords for 2 reasons. Firstly, because I only have 2 hands, possibly 4 beaters, but never very much more than that. So if I want to do a lot, I have to spread them. So spreading is when you don't play them at the same time. But mostly I think it's a really nice way to kind of lean towards a note. So when the note that I'm playing, it's like singing, the tune, is also in the chord, it's a really nice way to support that. So I'm like, thinking like a guitar. So I've talked about fills before, so having these little run-in sections that fit between. So you might use it to go from a verse to a chorus. I really don't think this song needs many of them. I know it sounds like everything I'm saying is just a cop-out. I don't need to do that. I'm not going to play in time. I'm not going to play any fills. But just the way that you wouldn't want to hear... There's not really very much counterpoint or different melody lines in this song. It's really so stripped back, and it's about this like wash of chords underneath Louis' glorious voice. So I'm not trying to make it too busy for this song. It's just simplicity. Sometimes less is more. Less is more. So if I was working with another musician, and their voice or their instrument was the different timbre of the tune, then I would definitely put in an instrumental section of this. So this is where I would play the chords around, but I would put some different tune on top, so it's like a solo. I'm going to experiment with that, because this can be like a nice kind of moment to be a bit more showy-offy and flashy, but without treading on anyone's toes. to do this with a singer, I think I will put that in. But for now, I just want to keep it really simplified. I'm just going to stick to the tune, I'm just going to sketch it out. I'm definitely going to start quite slow and quiet, bring in a little bit more energy. The colours of the rainbow are all pretty in the sky. Yes, energetic rainbows. Strip it down. Yeah! That's it, that's how it's going to go. I really love this song. It's so nice to be kind of forced to slow down. I think as we play, certainly as I play and it gets busy, I tend to put in more and more speed. So actually when you're playing faster, you're actually tending to put in more notes, and that's making you play faster and putting more notes, so it gets to this like tumble down mountain kind of effect. Whereas this is like every note should have its place, be super careful, precise. So I'm gonna have so much fun in the little gaps between. That's where my real hold up's gonna be. I'm not doing rubato, I'm not giving that time back, I'm just gonna hold up each note. I, C, trees. And it's like this kind of winding up this machine to go down. And it's really, especially when I'm playing these underneath notes, getting the good tone is so important in this song. There's not really anywhere to hide all these like clacky sounds. Fingers crossed none of them will appear. So what I'm doing is I'm singing the song so loudly in my head. The first time, I see trees of green, bam, 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 like we're swinging red roses too, kind of through that. But the second time, I see skies of green and clouds of white. It might be more like a dot driven. And then we've got a slightly different rhythm. I hear babies crying. And by saying it or singing it in my mind, I'm really trying to get that right intonation of the words still have meaning, even though you can't hear them. I'm not saying them, I'm not playing them, but I'm still trying to give that impression of meaning through. And that's the difference with doing a cover that was written as a song and you're now putting it on an instrument. In your mind and in the audience mind, you've got that extra layer of meaning to do. Like, it would be so sad if I was like, it's a wonderful world, and playing like really angrily, because everyone would know that that doesn't really align with what the music is. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Covers Done Quick. I'm Rosie, this was Wonderful World. I'll polish it up, pop out a cover in a few days. But I hope you enjoy these. Don't forget to pop in more suggestions of songs that I should do in the comments. I really enjoyed this one, even though my cameras are being so rude. So hopefully see you again soon. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Bye.